That is Vice President Joe Biden and protesters upset over what's going on in North Korea. Donald Gregg is our guest. He is the former U.S. ambassador to South Korea. Mr. Gregg, welcome to Big 550 KTRS here in St. Louis.
Good morning.
Was it or wasn't it a successful test of a hydrogen bomb?
We don't know yet. We will fly planes around and pick up stuff that was blown up into the air and be able to analyze it. But the more important issue is the fact that he did this at all. This was their fourth nuclear test. He surprised everybody, particularly the Chinese, and has put them in a very, very difficult position. And, nobody in Washington knows what to do. We're going to get more sanctions out of the UN, but they're already the most sanctioned country in the world. And I talked to a Swedish diplomat last year who's lived in North Korea for 2 years, and he said our sanctions hurt the little people, they don't hurt the government. So at some point we have to start talking with North Korea, but that's the last thing people are thinking about at this point. So he's a ruthless young man, and this was a very dangerous move he made, and I don't think anybody really knows what the outcome of it is going to be.
What about China? What about Russia? They seem to have the only type of influence anybody's got over North Korea.
Well, certainly China has, and they have in the past by cutting back on oil supplies. They are able really to have an effect on how the North Korean economy works. And I think it's very positive that a Chinese official came to the White House yesterday to talk directly with us about what needs to be done. Russia hasn't done much of anything. They are very interested in things becoming more stable on the Korean Peninsula, as they want to build a gas pipeline down the peninsula. So they have a great interest in economic stability, but they don't have the same influence that China does with its long border and its ability to send oil and other supplies to Pyongyang.
What is the ultimate goal? We all know he's a madman, and it's easy to sort of depict him as a crazy leader. But what is he trying to do? What's his objective?
I think his objective is to have North Korea accepted as a nuclear power and to start negotiating from that position. And we are unwilling to accept him as a nuclear power, and so we've adopted something called strategic patience, which means not talking to them, except if they're willing to put denuclearization right up front. He refuses to do that. And so we have not had any decent dialogue with North Korea for the past several years, and the result has been an exponential growth in their nuclear capacity. So strategic patience doesn't work, but the United States doesn't seem willing to undertake dialogue with North Korea on a new basis, and at this point everybody is angry, and I think talking is not what people are thinking about. I don't think Kim Jong-un is crazy. I think he's very smart and a risk taker. He's going to be around for a long time. I sent a letter to Joe Biden when Kim Jong-un first appeared, saying, this was when his father was still alive. I said, he's going to be running North Korea a long time. Let's invite him to the United States. He knows nothing about us, but he does speak some English. We know nothing about him, and it was turned down. They said, the Republicans would disapprove of that. I wish we had done it. But we've got to learn to live with him, because unless he's overthrown, which I don't think there's much of a chance of happening, we've got to learn to live with him.
Yeah, Donald Gregg, former U.S. ambassador to South Korea. It sounds like, though, neither party has any other options.
Well, yeah, none that we're willing to consider at this point. And Obama has, I think, done an awfully good job in negotiating with Iran. Remember what it took. Tremendous, sustained effort on Kerry's part, for which I commend him, to get this agreement with Iran, and they have turned over 98% of their fissile materials. But we have not been at all willing to undertake that kind of intensive effort with North Korea, and sooner or later it's going to take something like that on our part.
Donald Gregg, former U.S. ambassador to South Korea, thank you very much for your time this morning.
My pleasure.
Donald Gregg, ABC